how to become a mechatronics engineer. Like you mentioned that you got to know about this field when you were in class 11. So कौन सा field? Like is it a normal BTech? कोई entrance test होता है इसके लिए? So can you walk us down the path that you took, and maybe it can be helpful to others as well. I want to talk about a few skills that a person gains as they are pursuing this degree. जैसे आपने अपनी LinkedIn profile पर mention कर रखा है oscilloscope. Tell us a little about what is oscilloscope and why is it such an important skill to learn when you are in mechatronics? Have you built a robot yourself, like a fully functional robot?
I would answer this question by clearing one misconception that people have. Whenever they hear the word robot, they think like a humanoid walking version of some kind, which does follow all your orders. Robot is anything which has some sensors, actuators, and is able to move in a certain way, right? Like how you program it.
कॉलेज प्लेसमेंट्स, बिकॉज कोई भी इस फील्ड में जाना चाहता है तो उसको पता होना चाहिए कि कैंपस का प्लेसमेंट्स का कैसा रहता है, जॉब्स वगैरह का क्या स्कोप रहता है, कैंपस में जो कंपनीज आती हैं उनका क्या सैलरी रेंज रहता है, क्या सैलरी रेंज वो ऑफर करती हैं फ्रेशर्स को, एंड हाईएस्ट पैकेज कितना लग सकता है. कैन यू मेंशन अ फ्यू कंपनीज जिनको रीच आउट कर सकते हैं? जैसे जैसे मैं बता सकती हूँ कि फाइनेंस में किसी को जाना है तो भाई EY, KPMG, डिलॉयट और एक्सेंचर और जेनपैक्ट
Mhm.
इनमें जा सकते हो. तो अगर आपको कुछ कंपनीज का नाम बता सकते हो जो mechatronics engineers
Mhm.
को हायर करती हैं. Can you depict how the future will look like in the robotics industry 10 years from now? Hi Shivanshu, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for doing this.
Hey Pooja, yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
So when I was going through your LinkedIn profile, so I was just going through and I read the headline bio, Mechatronics Engineer. This was the first time I was hearing this word. I was like, okay, I was immediately curious about what exactly this field is about. So, and that is what this podcast is dedicated to. So anybody who's interested in making a career in mechatronics, so please make sure that you're staying till the end. So let's get started with the very basic question. What is mechatronics? And before you start, Shivanshu, I just want to give a declaration. Please consider me as an absolute noob here. That's someone who doesn't know anything. So yeah, what is mechatronics?
Yep, definitely. So, starting with what is mechatronics, like, I was surprised, being such a diverse field, like, very few people know about it. And I can't imagine if I didn't know about mechatronics, where I would be. So, mechatronics, as the name suggests, it's a combination of multiple disciplines: mechanical, electronics, computer science, and even more so, right? Apart from the name. So like that's what prompted me, because I consider myself a very curious person, and I can't stick to one particular thing. Instead, मुझे सारी चीजें देखनी, like how it works, open things up, how mechanical work, how electrical work. So that's why I joined mechatronics, because I was interested in electronics, but not just electronics. If someone is like that, they take ECE or triple E. But if they want to explore and still not sure, so
Mhm.
mechatronics is a very relevant field for them.
Okay. Right. So as you said, that it's a combination of mechanical plus a bit of electronics and obviously a bit of computer programming, because that's where the software part comes. Uh,
Yes.
so help us understand, how can one become a mechatronics engineer? Like konsa, is this a different field to study altogether, or do you is there any specialization that we need to do?
So I would start with my journey. How I explored mechatronics. Like, even I didn't know before around 11th class. During my 10th break, I joined the summer camp where it had a workshop with Arduino, which is a small microcontroller. Many people might have heard of it, which is a really readily available tool with which people make small projects, right? Robotic projects or automation, IoT. And I did a workshop there, and I was really fascinated by what's going on. Wow, I want to do this my whole life. And I asked my teacher, what this is about, what should I study to, do all this stuff. So he suggested me mechatronics, and I was like, I don't care about anything else. I want to do mechatronics. Don't care which college or which anything. So yeah, that's how I started with mechatronics. When I did start researching on it, I found out it's mostly a master's field. Like, it's still very new. Like, at least when I joined college 2017, it was very new in terms of a bachelor field, because
Mhm.
mechatronics, as the name suggests and as I described it, it's a very journalist field, and people who do this directly become, a lead in a company, or some kind of manager who's like a project manager who oversees different departments,
Okay.
which obviously makes sense. But for me, mechatronics was a way to, build that foundation of what different things are. And I believe, everyone, or people who, at least people who are interested, have some understanding of different things working together, so they can combine it to form something which they value, right? Like complete thing, instead of just writing a back end, for example, or just doing
Mhm.
electronics. Like now 3D printers are so popular, right? So anyone can design a small mechanical do a small mechanical design electronics for it, and make a small product out of it.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was the start.
Okay. So my question is again, how to become a mechatronics engineer? Like you mentioned that you got to know about this field when you were in class 11. So कौन सा field? Like, is it a normal BTech? कोई entrance test होता है इसके लिए? So can you walk us down the path that you took, and maybe it can be helpful to others as well?
Sure. Okay, so when I did start researching on mechatronics, it was not present in any of the government colleges like NIT or IITs, but mostly in private colleges. I did my bachelor's from MIT Manipal, which has its own entrance test, MUOET.
Okay.
So that's where I did my entrance for mechatronics in Manipal. But there are a lot of other colleges as well, like Thapa University, LPU, and VIT, SRM, which are good private colleges, and they have started to offer mechatronics engineering. So you can give the respective college entrance test. But one thing to keep in mind while selecting colleges is to not just limit to how the college is overall, but instead focus on one particular thing, which helped me a lot, is student projects and clubs.
Okay.
So more than my college time in academics, I spend more time in these clubs, and
Hmm.
these student projects, where I got to learn so much by doing all the hands-on work, that I believe has put me on some other level compared to a normal fresher who just did the academics. So I will strongly suggest people weigh these things out more, and
Hmm.
majorly when you're considering mechatronics engineering. And then if you find a college which you think is offering good student projects, good club, and overall the college image is good, you can give its entrance exam and then go for counseling, and then get into a bachelor's mechatronics degree.
Okay. Okay. So it's like a normal BTech degree, regular BTech degree,
Yes.
and 4 years
Ye-
program.
yes, that's correct.
Okay, right. So a college specific entrance test and a
Mhm.
4 year degree. So during your degree, do you get to work on live projects through internships?
Yeah. So as I said, like again, it's combination of multiple weeks. So even every year of a college, like first year is common for everyone in bachelors of engineering, and then second, third, fourth. I remember even in second, third, fourth, all 3 years, we had a combination of different subjects. So like
Hmm.
half subject would be mechanical, one fourth would be electrical, few would be instrumentation and control. And I remember in third year I even did AI, and some people did business marketing. Like it's not just related to limited to engineering also. Like many of my friends are in digital marketing through
Hmm.
this, and engineering economics. So there were a lot of good OEs and open electives and program electives in Manipal, which help people to more explore what other fields are there and what their interests are in.
Hmm. 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 So, what do you think? Is this mechatronics field of study is more difficult than other field of study like computer science, mechanical, or electrical? Or because here you're studying three fields altogether, is it more difficult than the other regular courses of BTech?
Mhm. I think difficulty comes when people join and they don't have an interest in it. Like my funda always has been key. If I like something, I can do it. If I don't like something, I will just carry it forward somehow, riding coattails or something. But if you really are interested in a field, like I mean, that's why I suggest people should do engineering if they like engineering or science or STEM, instead of just someone said so. So this is a field for someone who's not sure ki, there are so many things like when you're in 11, 12, you don't have any idea, especially me, because I was all from a business background. I was the first engineer from my family, right? So I didn't have that kind of exposure, what people do in this field, what people do in design field. So I was
Hmm.
like, I need to explore some stuff and figure out what's best for me. And I already like multiple things like mechanical as well as electronics, and I had some experience in programming during school.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely for it has same amount of subjects as in any other field, and
Hmm.
for some people it's even easier because all the subject don't go very deep into
Okay.
like very deep into a single subject, but they
Hmm.
get some surface level knowledge.
Hmm.
And as I said, it's still a growing field, so people are or colleges are changing the curriculum every 2 years or so. Like when I joined Manipal 2017, the curriculum was different. They had more emphasis on mechanical than electronics. Now
Hmm.
they have changed it, to fine tune it based upon what the feedback was and what people are liking more. So I won't say it's hard, but like it's a very fun field to explore multiple
Hmm.
different kind of discipline. Yeah.
हम्म आ, आप थोड़ा सा ये बता सकते हो कि जैसे ये मेकाट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियरिंग करने के बाद कौन कौन से फील्ड्स मेरे लिए ओपन हो जाते हैं, जैसे कि मैं अगर कंप्यूटर साइंस कर रही हूँ तो मैं फ्रंट एंड डेवलपर, बैक एंड डेवलपर, फुल स्टैक डेवलपर बन सकती हूँ। मैं इनफैक्ट टेक्निकल सपोर्ट में जा सकती हूँ। मैं प्रोडक्ट्स
Mhm.
खुद के बिल्ड कर सकती हूँ, प्रोडक्ट मैनेजर। तो ये डिफरेंट फील्ड्स मुझे पता है बिकॉज दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज वेरी कॉमन कंप्यूटर साइंस का जो एज अ फील्ड है। तो
Mhm.
इसमें कौन कौन सी आर्म्स हैं? आई बिलीव देयर वुड बी अ रोबोटिक्स आर्म, देयर वुड बी प्रोग्रामिंग रिलेटेड। तो कौन कौन से फील्ड्स अवेलेबल हैं मुझे करियर परस्यू करने के लिए वंस आई कंप्लीट दिस डिग्री?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, because mechatronics is, mostly related to robotics, but it's not limited to it. So few of the exclusive fields that you can, talk about mechatronics, like gave an example of computer science, like front end, back end. That could be robotics or control systems, where, it's a combination of both of the mathematics that they don't usually teach in mechanical, but especially in mechatronics kind of stream, like how to design a robot, how to define its mathematical equations on how, like for example,
Okay.
if there's a very complex robot, how should it move?
Hmm.
So designing all that stuff, but I because I'm from mechatronics, I know like it's just an exploration start point, and I have so many friends from all different fields, like not limited to one. Someone is doing business, someone is doing front end, full stack, AI, back end, or mechanical, electronics, like you name the field. I know people from there. So
Hmm.
like people branch out into different fields, which is one of the most amazing part of this. Like they get to know what they like, and then on the side they progress on it, right? Like they develop what they're interested in. And once, like that's the biggest part, once you know what your interest lies in, you can explore, right? There's no one stopping you. But if you're directionless, that's very hard to gain
Hmm.
a direction and focus on it.
So you have mentioned robotics, control system, uh, programming, because there is a software aspect also, which is
Mhm.
which handles the entire. I mean, जैसे हमारे human body में brain होता है, so do you can you also work on that brain part of the machinery and the robotics? So that's also
Yes,
one field that you can pursue, right?
yes,
Okay.
that's kind of
Um,
embedded systems.
right. I want to talk about a few skills that a person gains as they are pursuing this degree. Or I mean, this is basically ताकि सबको एक आइडिया लग पाए कि अच्छा मुझे ये सारी चीजों का नॉलेज होगा। जैसे आपने अपनी लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल पर मेंशन कर रखा है ऑसिलोस्कोप, राइट? एम आई प्रोनाउंसिंग इट करेक्टली?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell us a little about what is oscilloscope and why is it such an important skill to learn when you are in mechatronics?
Mhm. Oscilloscope is an electrical instrument. I will try to explain it very simply so that anyone watching the video can understand. So you see all these electrical signals and wireless signals, right? Like if you're operating your phone through Wi-Fi or through your mobile internet, it's all wireless. You can't see those signals. And if someone is on the engineering end, if someone is working with it, he's developing it. How does he debug it? It's not like You just write some code and you are able to produce a signal which exactly allow you to talk to one another. So
Hmm.
what oscilloscope does is it allows you to see those signals visually. Like
Oh,
that's the
okay.
simplest explanation. You can see the electrical signal, you can see the wireless signal, because eventually everything is just an electrical or electromagnetic signal which you can visualize, at least the electrical part that you can visualize in oscilloscope. So if I say, if I for a very simple example, if I wire the AC signal which you get in your socket, right, 220 volt or 240-volt AC. If
Hmm.
I plug that in into an oscilloscope, you would see a sine wave, which is very common noise because it's an alternating current. It alternates from plus to minus to plus between those signals. So that's like one of the basic thing you can do with an oscilloscope. You can visualize stuff, right? Like which
Hmm.
is not visible to human eyes, like fast signals, wireless signals, all that stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
that would be my
Hmm.
explanation.
That's very interesting. And apart from oscilloscope, what all other tools and softwares does one get to explore when learning about mechatronics or exploring robotics in general?
Mhm. There are a lot of tools actually.
Hmm.
So in my college, apart from the coursework, we had two labs every semester. And if I start telling the name of the labs, you'll keep counting how many different fields are there. So we had a design labs where we did mechanical design, designing on a computer based upon how a shape would look like, or for example, if you're designing a casing for a product. So, and
Okay.
then there was a robotics lab where we had to actually program the robots on how they would move and how would they complete a job, like a pick and place robot, for example.
Okay.
We also had a image recognition lab where we were given different cookie samples, and we had to do image recognition and find out if there's any odd cookie. This could be helpful in a production line, right, where you're packaging cookies. If there's a cookie that is broken, you should discard it out. You should
Hmm.
not continue. So that
Hmm.
that's a like a that was an example of why image recognition. And
Hmm.
then we had hydraulics lab, pneumatics lab, where
Hmm.
we also got to know, how apart from like normal motors, which are very widely used in everywhere, like
Hmm.
there's this field of study called hydraulics and pneumatics. Hydraulics means controlling or actuating stuff through the use of oil or viscous liquids,
Hmm.
and similarly pneumatics is the actuating using air, air pressure and all that.
Hmm.
So designing circuits around it. And we also had something called PLC, which is a programming logic controller, and this is a very widely used tool that is till date used in industries to automate stuff. So it's like a universal product with
Hmm.
multiple input outputs which can control and sense various stuff, so you can stack it on top of each other and build a large system. So if
Yeah.
you like, that's a very common word in industries and automation,
PLC
where
and
like,
SCADA.
yeah, PLC and SCADA. So SCADA is like the human machine interface for it. You can
Okay.
visualize what's happening behind.
And you were mentioning कि मतलब मैं तो इसी में ही काउंटिंग भूल गई, इतना सारा labs है. So you get
Yeah.
like immense exposure when it comes to hands on work, right? मतलब हर
Mhm.
चीज जो आप एक्चुअल में करने वाले हो आपको वो labs के थ्रू एक्सपीरियंस करने को मिला. So that's actually very interesting. Which brings me to this question. Have you built a robot yourself, like a fully functional robot that can do, let's just say, that can do mini tasks? Okay, get me a glass of water, let's just say.
Yeah, sure. I would answer this question by clearing one misconception that people have. Whenever they hear the word robot, they think like a humanoid walking version of some kind,
Correct.
which does follow all your orders. But like those are called humanoid robots, which are little far, yet to be a commonplace. But robot is anything which has some sensors, actuators, and is able to move in a certain way, right? Like how you program it.
Hmm.
So I myself have built a lot of robots. Like when I started, when I did this workshop in my 11th class,
Hmm.
I built a maze solving robot for my science exhibition in my school. So that was a really great thing to learn at such an early age using Arduino and stuff. So we like, it was a really nice experience. We built a thermocol maze, and we just leave the robot there, and it used to find the way out of the maze by itself. So we didn't need to give any manual instructions or anything like that.
Mm.
So that was my first robot. I'm still very proud of it, even though I would have built that very differently now. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was one thing. And in my college, I joined this project called student project called Project Manas, to which I owe a lot of things which I've learned. Because so it's a student project built by students and started by some of our seniors. And
Mm.
every year, new people get inducted to it, and they manage the whole project. So there are different kind of student projects. One is like Formula Manipal, Project
Mm.
Manas, which makes autonomous robot. That the project I was in. There are Team Manipal Racing, Solar Mobile. So many different fields, and everyone doing such crazy stuff, being at graduate level, right, undergraduate level.
Mm. Correct.
So really interesting, and I joined this club project called Project Manas, where I was in electronics and embedded, which is like electronics and programming. So there
Okay.
also I built few robots, like few small robots, like a line following, which we went for a competition in IIT Bombay. So there's a huge maze on 2D maze on ground, and you leave
Mm.
your robot. The robot should do a mapping of the whole maze, and then he has to find the shortest path.
Oh,
Yeah, so that
okay.
was a two-wheel robot that we
Mm.
say.
Mm.
And we also participated so all these student projects participate in one or more global competitions. So Project Manas used participated in this project called IGVC, which is
Mm.
Intelligent Ground Vehicle Competition. And so it has people from all around the world, like all around the college, like IIT Madras, IIT Bombay, Georgia Tech, and CMU. You name the good college, it would be there. And
Mm.
so I'll give the best part first. Like we came first all over the world in 2019.
Oh, that's
So
very
yeah,
impressive.
just imagine that. Like when we hear the news, we couldn't believe it. Like 2019, first all over the world, beating all the IITs, all
Mm.
the CMO, and people who have just 2 years experience being in college.
Mm.
Like this shows, like if you're interested in something, people have dedication. That kind of environment can bring you to such level that
Mm.
anything is possible, right? Like who would have thought?
Yeah.
So there we built a big robot which had multiple high tech sensor like lidars and cameras, and it
Mm.
was completely autonomous. So you just give it to GPS coordinate. It has to traverse through the whole path, watching out for lanes and any obstacle around it. Just like a car, but a
Mm.
little smaller version. So
Mm.
so yeah, that was one proud achievement.
Mm.
Yes.
That, congratulations. I mean, it was long back, but still, a very, very impressive and a very, commendable journey that you have had, and a very commendable project that you guys built
Mhm.
together. Uh, it's a good segue from here, since you have been mentioning two-wheeler or a small vehicle. So, आपको क्या लगता है, by when can we have absolutely driverless cars in the society that humans can start using?
I mean, there are already Tesla, right? Like people are using it in US and
But
even in
it's
India.
not fully automated or fully driverless car, right? You still need to operate at some.
It is actually fully driverless. Like they don't allow you to or suggest you to use it in, especially in cities like where there are crowded environments. But it is completely autonomous. Tesla had multiple demos, and people have used it, for driving from one point to another within the city, because cruise control is very common. People are just leaving the vehicle on semi-autonomous or autonomous mode on highway, but main thing is following those same traffic rules in cities. So
Mm.
Tesla is already there. Like they I don't know what all they have, but they are really up there. But if you talk about India, right, like India has such diverse and some different kind of roads. But yeah, even in India, there are so many startups which are building this autonomous driving technology for Indian roads.
Mm.
So like they are training all their data or all their robots for Indian roads and tackling problems specific to India, so that it can be started or to be rolled out as soon as possible. If I have to comment a year, I think within 5 years we would be at much better shape from where we are right now, given there's all this generative AI that's coming out, right? Like
Hmm.
one way that helps is you don't need to get like wait to collect all this data to train your robot. You can
Hmm.
generate a lot of data, which is another great thing to train your robot faster and more efficiently.
Hmm.
So I think within 5 years you will see some autonomous robots going right by your house, some kind of.
Hmm. Right. And Zomato, I think, started drone deliveries, right, for in some cities.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
also an example of what we can expect in the near future.
Mhm. Definitely, yeah. Like anything which reduces cost, right, and reduces
Hmm.
the need for humans so that he can do some other much better job, right?
So शिवांशु, I want to talk about the college placements because कोई भी इस फील्ड में जाना चाहता है तो उसको पता होना चाहिए कि कैंपस का प्लेसमेंट्स का कैसा रहता है, जॉब्स वगैरह का क्या स्कोप रहता है.
Mhm. Sure. So with respect to college placements, I would say if you compare it to a more popular branch like computer science, there are not that many opportunities, computer science or EC, because sometimes people don't find their field which is close to their heart or find their interest. They just depend
Right.
upon college academics, right? And then if you are a generalist, it's very hard to find that entry level job that you have been exposed to.
Hmm.
So you definitely need to go off campus, first find your interest, build your portfolio on that, and then go off campus to look for some specific field. For example, if there are less core jobs in your off campus placement, you definitely need to look further than your campus.
हम्म. सो कैन यू टॉक अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट कि कैंपस में जो कंपनीज आती हैं उनका क्या सैलरी रेंज रहता है, क्या सैलरी रेंज वो ऑफर करती हैं फ्रेशर्स को, एंड हाईएस्ट पैकेज कितना लग सकता है.
Yeah. So package ranges can vary a lot. Like if you are looking for a core company, right? A lot of core companies start with very small salary package, which is around 4 to 6 lakh, like what we call a graduate engineer training (GET). So they train you for 6 months, and maybe the growth is more after some 2 or 3 years once you become more experienced.
हम्म.
But in core jobs, the starting packages are quite low. Like if it's a good company like a Mercedes Benz or Volvo, it can even go higher, like 7 to 9 LPA. But if you're in a software field, that eh, by itself becomes very interesting. There are
हम्म.
field companies like Goldman Sachs or Microsoft. If you
हम्म.
have the skills for it, you can even get the highest package in your college.
हम्म.
So in my college, it was in Microsoft. I don't remember exactly, but around 25 to 30 lakhs,
हम्म.
which people can get.
हम्म.
And even Goldman Sachs, which is kind of field agnostic, so it allow people from different fields to give their entrance test. So
हम्म.
if you have your experience and if you're interested, you can directly apply for it. No one's stopping you there. And then there are few mid-range companies as well, which again is mostly into software, like your back-end development or front-end development or some data analytics,
हम्म.
which gives you some a range about 10 to 12 lakhs or 10 to
Okay.
15 lakhs.
सो नाउ दैट you've mentioned कि कॉलेज में अगर आपको राइट अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल रही है ऑन कैंपस, सो यू शुड बी एब्सोल्युटली ओके लुकिंग फॉर ऑफ कैंपस अपॉर्चुनिटीज. तो अब आपने ऑफ कैंपस अपॉर्चुनिटीज कैसे ढूंढी, कुड यू शेयर अ लिटिल बिट अबाउट दैट. और आप वो
Mhm.
लिस्ट कर सकते हो कुछ कंपनीज जिनमें स्टूडेंट्स जो मैकाट्रॉनिक्स में अभी पढ़ रहे हैं या फिर आना चाहते हैं, तो वो उन कंपनीज को रीच आउट कर सकते हैं खुद से सामने से.
Mhm. Sure. Off campus, for me, my journey started for off campus search through LinkedIn. I used to see a lot of LinkedIn posts of different startups. Those are coming up. Few friends used to share some stuff, and
हम्म.
eventually, like overall, the ecosystem, took a boom during my college placement. Like after 2021, especially after COVID, there were so many new ventures that were forming up, right?
Correct.
And that's how I started looking at it. I just used to, even on Twitter or whatever social media you follow, you would see different companies, especially Twitter, different companies coming up and people retweeting like they are doing this cool stuff, or someone is building this or that. So that's how I started it, and I found this really great company called Pran, which is a climate deep tech climate company, and they're building filterless air purifiers, which is
Okay.
a a moonshot idea, right? Like they've already built it, but they want to expand it to CO2. They want to make a CO2 capture device, which is still in their research. But I really love the idea and the energy, which these guys are bringing in. And I reached out to from their website to one of their hiring team members. It was a
Understood.
really small team. I think when I was there were only 3 people in it, including me.
Hmm.
So yeah, really small team, but I expressed my interest in their company, like what they are doing. This sounds something which I couldn't have thought of myself, just as an outsider. So I
Hmm.
would like to work there as an intern
Hmm.
and learn more about it. And they were very happy to receive my request and
Hmm.
talk forward. And I sure then we had an interview where they directly gave me an internship. So that
Hmm.
was a really good experience. Right? And my first this that was my kind of first offline internship. It
Hmm.
was in Bombay, uh, right around 2021. So yeah, that was quite interesting. Like my first offline internship, which I got
Hmm.
online, without anyone's help. I just approached some company and yeah, got
Hmm.
there. So that's how I think you can also look for opportunities. Like it might not always be there on the website, or they might not be posting on LinkedIn Easy Apply, which I believe is the worst place to apply, because everyone applies from there. It
Yeah.
becomes nullified. So yeah, so just find good companies, keep up to date with what's happening in India
Hmm.
startup ecosystem, and not even India. Like if you like some
Hmm.
company which is outside India, you can approach
Hmm.
them as well. Who's
Correct.
stopping that? Uh, yeah.
कैन यू मेंशन अ फ्यू कंपनीज जिनको रीच आउट कर सकते हैं, जैसे जैसे मैं बता सकती हूँ कि फाइनेंस में किसी को जाना है तो भाई ईवाई, केपीएमजी, डिलॉयट और एक्सेंचर और जेनपैक्ट
Mm-hmm.
इनमें जा सकते हो। तो अगर आप वो कुछ कंपनीज का नाम बता सकते हो जो मैकेट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियर्स
Mm-hmm.
को हायर करती हैं।
Sure. So as I said, I'm mostly into startups, and
ओके।
that's what I been following. But if I have to mention a few big companies, like there are so many this thing warehouse automation companies that are going big now. So, for example, ABB, which is a big robotics company, Siemens, and then you
हम्म।
have Gray Orange Robotics, which recently, is at a valuation of some $900 million, about to be a unicorn. So,
हम्म।
so like just by seeing those terms, you can see there's so much opportunity and interest building in these kind of field,
राइट।
which you can certainly find, and new fields are coming up every day. So, like three of my friends are in robotics who are working in three different companies, all into warehouse automation, building a little different kind of product. And then there's I forgot the name of the company which is building uh, an autonomous car for Indian roads, as I described earlier, right?
हम्म।
Yeah, and then there are some software level company like Black Coffee Robotics, which is completely software oriented. If you are into simulations and stuff, not more towards hardware side, and they
हम्म।
provide the software stack for
हम्म।
companies which you can for robotics company which they can use. Yeah.
हम्म। राइट। एंड सो मतलब जो मुझे समझ आया है, लेट मी जस्ट समराइज द लास्ट 5 to 10 minutes का कॉन्वर्जेशन। नंबर वन, ऑन कैंपस ट्राई कर सकते हो बट लिमिटेड कंपनीज आती हैं। इफ यू आर ओके टू
Mhm.
स्विच योर करियर टू मोर जनरल रोल्स यू कैन डू दैट, बिकॉज आपके पास नॉलेज तो है ही, 3 फील्ड्स का
Yes.
नॉलेज है आपके पास। बट इफ यू रियली
Mhm.
वांट टू वर्क ऑन द कोर रोबोटिक्स यू मे हैव टू लुक फॉर ऑफ कैंपस अपॉर्चुनिटीज। Now, off campus, you
Yes.
have to start reaching out to people on LinkedIn. Start from startups, and it's okay. You'll have to start with internships. You have to be okay with that. Build your portfolio so that
Mhm.
you can eventually apply for big shots, big companies, right?
That's correct. Mhm.
Uh, can you tell me a little bit about the scope of robotics as a field in India? क्योंकि जब हम देखते हैं रोबोटिक्स वर्ड के बारे में सुनते हैं, वो रोबोट्स को जो वो वीडियोस हैं ट्विटर पे काफी चलती हैं जिसमें वो रोबोट जो है क्लीनिंग कर रहे हैं, या फिर जो एक रोबोट जो है वो सामान जो है डिलीवर कर रहा है, इधर से उधर कूद रहा है, प्लैंक्स पे जो है कूद रहा है। सो दीज आर द काइंड ऑफ वीडियोस दैट वी हैव
Mhm.
सीन फ्रॉम अमेरिका और फ्रॉम अदर कंट्रीज। बट what do you think is
Mhm.
the scope of this field in India? India में कितना grow सकता है?
Mhm. That's an interesting question, right? Like as I cleared that misconception, ki whenever someone thinks about robot, it's not always humanoid robots, right? Like it's not some
Yeah.
human-shaped robot. So all those videos you see, like for example, if I have to give few examples, like cleaning robot, not
Hmm.
the uh, floor cleaner kind of robot; those are very common. But
Hmm.
if it's like a humanoid robot which is cleaning tables and stuff,
Hmm.
and like the Boston Dynamic robot, which
Hmm.
you see doing parkour, right, in those
Hmm.
videos. Those are very research-oriented robots
Hmm.
that are not yet there in the market and still have time. They become more mature to be applied to a certain field compared to the other dog robot, which now many companies are making, right, like for inspection, that you're saying. But underneath all this what you see on internet, there's so much in robotics, like as I told you about warehouse automation. So
Hmm.
because of e-commerce industry, we have so many warehouses, and
Correct.
all these warehouses needs optimization and more efficient
Hmm.
placement. Like you can't have that big of a labor that is thinking about all this optimization, placing stuff, taking it out, retrieving it,
Correct.
at the time you need. So with such large base, like next thing, like that's how even a computer comes into play, right? Like if you want
Hmm.
to do complex computation, humans can do it, but
Hmm.
it's just more efficient and optimized if a
Hmm.
computer does it. So same
Hmm.
thing with robots. If you can make robots cheap, and that's why there's so many new fields coming up. Even in drone automation, right? Like there are so
Hmm.
many people making drones for different application, like for
Correct.
analyzing your agricultural field, on analyzing the geography in general, and
Correct.
more like many other fields.
Hmm.
And still like this ground vehicle robots for warehouse automation, and as I described. So there are
Hmm.
a lot of companies coming up in these fields, and taking up niche divisions, and just trying to capitalize on that. So I would say this is the best time, or one of the best time, to start in robotics
Hmm.
if you're interested. So many opportunities out there, and always opportunity to build more, right? Like so even in this construction, there are, yeah, this will coming up called construction robots.
Hmm.
So for small construction jobs, especially in India, right, like if you want to do a wall paneling or wall painting, if you can make it automated and use robots for it, and especially for dangerous jobs, right, like if you're outside a building hanging through wire, doing something, if that can be
Hmm.
automated by robot, everyone would want it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, more and more people are going towards robotics, and I feel it's a very ripe and evergreen field coming now.
Hmm.
So, yes.
Um, yeah, definitely. It is it looks promising, but again, थोड़ा सा मतलब धीरे हो रही है इसमें जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होना चाहिए जिस हिसाब का रेवोल्यूशन आना चाहिए. We are seeing that it is slowly happening, but yeah, it's definitely going to happen. Can you depict how the future will look like in the robotics industry 10 years from now?
Sure. 10 years from now, I mean, I have to think really science fiction stuff because of this generative AI thing, right? Like generative is AI is such a big thing that has come up, and it's going to help all across the field, like every field, and especially robotics, right? Because it was already on rise, and because of these tools like ChatGPT and generative AI for data sets and stuff, like
Hmm.
it's going to propel even faster. So
Hmm.
more people will get access to all these resources to build their projects ahead, and which will spike their interest early on their career,
Hmm.
and so that they are already ready for doing complex work when they are,
Hmm.
in the market. And
Hmm.
and yeah, I think 10 years from now, we would be at a much, much better stage where I think we would be progressing. As you said, it's progressing slowly because we don't see in our daily lives, but in the back end, it's growing very fast. If you see
Hmm.
all these automation things that's happening in industries, it's like going really fast. So I think within 10 years, this is going to stabilize, and it's going to move more towards how you can have robots in your daily life, which can help you to live more efficiently, or
Yeah.
reduce all those menial jobs which people do right now by themselves.
फ्लाइंग कार्स आ जाएंगी कि नहीं आ जाएंगी 10 साल में?
फ्लाइंग कार्स, इलोन मस्क पे ऊपर है आई थिंक ये तो.
Right. So, this brings us to the end of the podcast, Shivanshu. It was an interesting interaction. But before we end, I have a few curious candidates. This is a rapid fire round where I'm going to ask questions and you have to reply quickly. So, let's start. One book every mechatronics enthusiast should read.
I won't suggest one book because it's a diverse field. But if you want to read something and read a Introduction to Robotics book, there are a lot of authors for it, so you get a more holistic view of all the fields.
Okay. Coolest application of mechatronics you've seen recently?
Definitely Space Robotics, which is very nascent but coming up.
Hmm. Suggest a few movies
Sure.
that a person interested in robotics must watch.
I mean, watch any Transformers movie, right? Like you will see how can I build a robot that can turn into a car, or a car from a robot, or you have Terminator, which is like the OG of robotics movies. Yeah, you can watch those.
Hmm. The worst application of mechatronics that you've seen.
A lot of people. So there's this Reddit page where they make useless robots, which doesn't do much. It's like overcomplicate a simple thing.
Hmm.
Like there are people who like it, but I don't know. I feel it's quite useless.
I mean, maybe it could be a
Yeah.
parody Reddit, right? Because Reddit is like so wide and different people
Mhm.
go there for different purposes.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a show off. Like they know so many skills, they can complicate a simple thing.
Okay, okay. Right. So that's it. Thank you so much, Shivanshu, for doing this. It was definitely an interesting interaction. And I really hope whoever is watching it was able to gain insights into the mechatronics field of study, कि क्या करियर ऑप्शंस हैं, किस तरीके से आपके ग्रोथ हो सकती है एंड किस तरीके से इन जनरल ये फील्ड ग्रो करने वाला है इन द फ्यूचर. सो थैंक यू सो मच. शिवांशु को आप फॉलो कर सकते हो लिंक्डइन पर. आई विल बी एडिंग हिज लिंक्डइन इन द डिस्क्रिप्शन. And if you have any questions related to this field, put them in the comments. We'll be more than happy to reply and take up. And you can definitely reach out to Shivanshu and for your any career advice. So that's it. Thank you
Yep.
so much once again and see you in the next podcast.